are you going to deal with that?
What? Oh, right. Yeah, let me just... There we go.
That's not... I meant, are you actually going to go out there and... you know what, never mind.
I'm not, but they are. As you can hear from the chaos outside, things are really starting to ramp up galaxy-wide as the rebels are starting to give the Empire a run for its credits. So, with that, I see no better time than now to talk about the Galactic Civil War.
Wait, don't put that on, actually. I think you look better without it.
Joys, look, just play the intro and let's just get on with it. That's right, the Galactic Civil War is in full swing. The entire galaxy is in complete chaos and everybody is trying to kill each other. But most importantly, what about you? You, the lowly stormtrooper, TIE pilot or naval personnel who has no clue as to what the Civil War is or where even to begin. Well, that's what me and this droid are here to help with today.
Hello there. I am KRM2 and I am your Imperial security...
It's easy to feel small and insignificant in this war. And those feelings are normal to have because, well, you are. But fear not, as we shall take you through the ins and outs of this entire situation. So let's start with its history and how it came to be. For the past roughly 20 years since the Clone Wars, the Empire has remained largely unchallenged in its mission to conquer most of the known galaxy. But even before the Republic's fall, top Alliance figureheads such as Bail Organa, Padme Amidala and Mon Mothma, along with many others, frequently opposed the Emperor's increasing chokehold over galactic territory. For years following the rise of the Empire, the infant Rebel Alliance had remained scattered, undisciplined and downright disorderly, with extremist groups like Saw Gerrera and his partisans really sticking it to the Imperial Armada, but never being able to do that on a big enough scale, being seen as more of a nuisance to High Command rather than a full-on threat to the entire Empire. But while Saw and his merry band were at the forefront of fighting the Empire, others like Mon Mothma and Bail Organa were working on something with a lot more ambition and with further reaching consequences. Right under the Empire's nose, they were creating what would become the Rebel Alliance we see today.
So as the rebels gained strength, influence and allies throughout the years, it is important to mention that before everything kicked off, there were skirmishes and battles between the two factions, particularly involving the infamous Phoenix Cell and the 7th Fleet, with Thrawn dealing several heavy blows to the entire group throughout its existence.
When Thrawn laid waste to the Phoenix main headquarters, that being Chopper Base on Atollon, they lost the Phoenix commanding officer Jun Sato, and a majority of the rebel personnel vital in keeping the Phoenix alive. After this, they disbanded, with surviving members being assimilated into the larger Rebel Alliance. So, well before the Civil War came to be, the Rebel Alliance and the Empire were already going toe-to-toe with each other in ship battles, hit and runs, ground skirmishes, infiltrations and espionage missions.
The disappearance of Thrawn and the Chimera, as well as the liberation of Lothal, certainly didn't help the tension between the two factions, which kept rising and rising as the Empire was forced to recognise the rebellion as a legitimate threat, and not something that could be taken down by a few ISB agents on a Coruscanti weekend. But with this, a few key things would present themselves throughout the lead up to Yavin.
The first Death Star being one such priority for the rebels, with their bloodthirsty pursuit of the plans being the straw that broke the Bantha's back, and rightfully so. The Death Star could have been the end of the Alliance, as we will very well see. It was not something that could be ignored. So, how exactly did it all kick off then? Well, it's a long story with a complex chain of events, but I'll simplify. With the first Death Star completed, Galen Erso defected and made the majority of the Rebel Alliance aware of the existence of the Death Star and the location of its plans. After this, well, it was only a matter of time before a handful of rebels, known only as Rogue One, would risk it all in a daring life-or-death mission to retrieve these plans for the Alliance. Rogue One included Cassian Andor, Jyn Erso, Bodhi Rook, Baze Malbus, Chirrut Imwe, and a defect Imperial security droid designated K2SO. Huh, so your type can defect? What do you think of that?
Security droids don't defect. K2SO was nothing but rebel propaganda. I will never betray the Empire.
In their haste for damage control, the Empire failed to stop the rebels from procuring the plans, with a battle that raged across Scarif, ultimately leaving it a scorched wasteland thanks to Tarkin and the Death Star. So, you could technically say that the Civil War began here, but fast forward to Yavin, when Tarkin tried to destroy the hidden rebel base, this battle was a costly defeat for the Empire, and resulted in the loss of the first Death Star and everyone on board. This was when it all kicked off, and it was after this that all hell broke loose. Battle after battle, there has not been a conflict this big since the Clone Wars, and with the second Death Star currently being constructed at a disturbingly fast pace, things are only going to get worse as the rebels will stop at nothing to try and destroy it once they learn about the damn thing. So what about your place in all of this mess?
Speaking of which, where even are you?
I am aboard the Imperial 2 Star Destroyer Vindicator. Got assigned here since I figured it would be a nice change of scenery.
And why aren't you out there in battle?
Because some of the other pilots on board are eager hotshots. They wanted to get out there, and since this ship only has so many fighters in reserve, with that number dwindling, there wasn't any for me. But I mean, a few on board this ship are pretty exceptional pilots. If not a bit novice.
Oh, right, I forgot you were part of the Starfighter Corps. Well, maybe you can teach them a thing or two about being a good pilot. You survived this long in that Corps, so that's got to count for something.
Maybe. It's not been easy though. Speaking of which, for you folks in the Stormtrooper Corps, you will either find yourself and your divisions being taken to battlefields all throughout the galaxy, or being posted somewhere to defend, attack, or look out for rebels. There really is no shortage of environments that you could find yourself in, so you have to be prepared for that, which you should be, considering the things you've learned. The types of battles you Stormtroopers will find yourselves in will vary greatly, but a favoured strategy among rebel ground forces is that of a hit and run and guerrilla warfare, which, to be honest, the Empire isn't very great at dealing with, but on the flip side, we are starting to see more full-on, large-scale assault battles as the Alliance increases the scale of their fleets and war machines, taking bigger and bigger risk.
If you find yourself in a large-scale battle like an assault, you can expect things to get chaotic very quickly. Typically if it's against a base which has a shield generator like Hoth for example, walker support will absolutely be the default strategy for the Empire, in which you will be required to escort a walker or group of walkers to a designated destination, while protecting them against an oncoming rebel offensive.
You walker pilots are the heavy hitters in these kind of scenarios. Now, it's not my place to tell you how to operate these machines, but your involvement in most battles is a crucial aspect to ensuring success, as you will be transporting squads of stormtroopers, providing cover fire for those on foot, and altering the course of entire enemy front lines as you slowly charge through them. So, try not to get your walker stuck somewhere. For Starfighter Corps members, you guys will not be able to catch a break, as you will pretty much be at the mercy of wherever your assigned capital ship ventures to. And with the Alliance building a vast formidable fleet of Mon Calamari cruisers to rival the Empire, battles in space and sky are only going to get more chaotic from here on out. To put quite simply, you guys will find yourselves either assisting Imperial ground forces from the sky, providing cover fire on enemy front lines and stopping enemy fighters from doing the exact same thing, or you'll be partaking in fleet battles. Fleet battles are exactly what they sound like. Huge, sprawling battles set in base or planetary atmosphere involving capital ships. These are some of the most volatile and dangerous forms of battle the Civil War has to offer. With capital ships tearing each other to shreds and fighters screaming by, you'll need to have your wits about you as a TIE pilot, as you'll be defending your ISD, which is your squadron's lifeline, from the ever-present void of space. Or you'll be charging headfirst into the vast firing lines of a Mon Calamari cruiser. Are you sure you still want to be a TIE pilot? You TIE pilots will be tasked with escorting troop deployments to the surface of planets, defending ISD fleets and helping them to push through blockades or destroy enemy fleets, partake in bombing runs on atmospheric or orbital targets, disabling space stations or enemy ships for capture, and patrols around local systems within Imperial territory. Pretty self-explanatory stuff. And finally, the Imperial Navy, the backbone of the Imperial war machine and the only thing keeping the Empire in this war at all. You naval personnel will be responsible for keeping your vessel afloat. With hundreds of distinct roles needed to keep an ISD operating, it would take us ages to go through them all. So let's instead cover the key roles needed for this war.
We have the weapon technicians that specialise in operating the ship's deadly turbo lasers and cannons, assisting TIE fighters in removing swarms of rebel starfighters, keeping them at an appropriate distance from the ship. Imperial technicians are also tasked with keeping vessels afloat through regular maintenance, in between resupply and repair, working on the engine, weaponry, and just generally keeping it up to code.
Despite the fact I've been keeping the two separate on this channel, the Starfighter Corps is a part of the Imperial Navy, and TIE pilots are a crucial part of protecting capital ships against enemy fighters, which are the most dangerous adversaries to these kind of ships. And to relay battle information to those pilots, we have an ISD bridge crew. Being the brain of the whole ship is no easy feat, and is by far the hardest role the Empire has to offer, requiring leadership, discipline and tactical knowledge to operate a vehicle as large as a Star Destroyer, qualities of which most Imperial captains in Admiralty do not have. Star Destroyers will partake in a huge variety of different operations. They of course lead fleets and attack other capital class ships, but they also lead ground battles, hovering overhead and acting as large mobile command centres that relay instruction, and are a lifeline that allow ground forces to flee if a battle sees the worst outcome. They carry vast amounts of cargo all over the galaxy, which include infantry, walkers and TIE fighters, and are the Empire's most powerful symbol, as the last thing you want to see is one of these above your home planet. From orbit, they are capable of laying waste to vast stretches of land if need be. So really, without these vessels and those that command them, there would be no Empire. Which is unfortunately not the case. That would be a very good thing though, wouldn't it?
What?
Nothing. Hopefully I've given you all the info you need to help navigate the intricacies of the Galactic Civil War. What do you think, Droid?
They know enough. It's really not that difficult, guys. I mean, come on. Just hold up your blaster and shoot your target. If a hut is incapable of missing, then neither are you. Looking at you, TK5252.
So overall, now that you know what the Galactic Civil War is and how it's all panning out, hopefully the next time you're out in the field, you won't feel so lost, and will be able to survive the ensuing war. Who knows? We'll see what the outcome brings when this is all over. So with that, why not consider leaving a like, commenting and subscribing to start your journey into the Empire today, and with that, long live the Empire and may the Force be... Major here, over.
We have a TIE ready for deployment, whenever you're ready.
Copy that, I'll be down there momentarily. Well Droid, got to go. Finish the outro for me, will you?
May the Force be with you.